Hello, I'm Jim Miller, and I'm here with Chuck Spitzer and Monica Wertman, and this is The Flip Side. For years now, in fact, every year of this administration, we have heard about the financial woes of the state of Maryland. Just recently, an article in the State Reporter written by arguably controversial columnist Barry Raskovar suggested that Maryland has a serious, ongoing imbalance between its high spending habits and its lower than expected revenue receipts. We hear about structural deficits, budget cuts, and new taxes. Chuck, do you think members of the legislature are hiding a problem in an election year?
I think all members of all political offices are hiding things. I mean, when you look at the definition from the Lexicon Financial Times, it says a structural deficit is a deficit that results from fundamental imbalance between income and expenditures, not from a one-off or a short-term problem. In other words, it's been going on for a while. So it's not something new.
So do we have one of those?
Apparently we do, because we're taking money from pensions and we're taking money from elsewhere to...
But actually, by law, we really can't have one of those, true?
That is correct. According to the Maryland Constitution, the legislature is required to balance a budget.
So Monica, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think the larger picture, in country-wise, of course, we don't have a balanced budget, but I think in Maryland they're at least trying to uphold the Constitution with it. So, they're sitting there trying to balance it, and hopefully we'll be successful then this year.
So we know that wage growth is really near about zero. Sales tax growth is about 1/5 of what it should be in a similar recovery. We know that withholding taxes are about 2/5 of what they would normally be in a recovery. What do we do about this? More gambling?
Raise the minimum wage.
There you go.
More gambling, that's a great idea.
Well, I mean, if you make less money, then they withhold less. So if we've lost jobs and the jobs aren't coming back the way they were supposed to.
We've not just lost jobs, we've lost the top earners in the state, have moved on to other places because the tax burden is so heavy.
Yeah. So if you don't have the same income as you had before, then you're going to bring in the same revenue from it in taxes and all that. So we would have to build new jobs.
So our current delegation, in large part, is on the no new taxes bandwagon. Is that a possibility in the state of Maryland? Or is that an inevitable?
You mean, is it an answer or is it a possibility? There's a difference.
I think that is a bandwagon on because of election year.
Yeah, is it a platform or is it a possibility?
I think it's a platform.
Well, for soon-to-be Governor Brown, it's actually a platform. He was ready to reform and restructure taxes. Of course, the way he did it the last time around, or was the last administration did it, restructuring wasn't in our benefit. And you can see it's not raising the money we need.
So what are the next steps? What do we do next? How do we fix this situation?
Spend less.
Spend less.
Spend less, collect and lower the individual taxes, bring businesses back into Maryland, and it would increase the revenue.
You increase jobs, you're also going to make more money off of that in taxes.
So there's also a problem with attracting new businesses. And again, in my mind, that decreases the tax base.
Right. The cost of doing business here.
Yeah, we reported last week that the cost of doing, that we were 38 out of 50 in terms of being a business-friendly state. What can we do for businesses to make us more appealing?
I think it's an overall restructure. I don't think it's giving tax cuts for 3 years or whatever the case may be, because the reality is in 3 years, they're still paying what everybody else is, which is too much. I mean, we look at business where we are. We're fortunately and unfortunately in that quarter where 81 and 70 come together, but we're so close to Pennsylvania and so close to West Virginia that it's cheaper to put the jobs there. And I know that Pennsylvania didn't do really well on that survey either, but West Virginia does. And for a lot of places, you don't need, the highways are there. So it's not like you need a lot of other infrastructure in.
So in the last year, if memory serves, of the Bob Ehrlich administration, he reported a surplus, if memory serves. Does anybody else remember that? I think that was the case. So, but immediately going into the first year of O'Malley, we had to raise taxes. They put in the tax on IT services. They put in a number of other things. And those have just continued over time. What is, assuming it's soon to be Governor Brown, what do you think his options are going to be?
Well, the reality is it's not going to collapse in 5, 6 years, whatever the 4 years, the terms for them and senators and all that good stuff. They don't really technically have to do anything. It's not going to collapse during that time. It just depends if he's ready to, if he wants reelected. I mean, and that's the reality, and I think that's the way they look at the budget. Can we give enough away so I can get enough votes back?
What if we moved to consumption taxes rather than, I mean, that would really help, especially if you raise if you made maybe a couple of things, like they were talking about making marijuana legal, that would be a tax income that could come in and help out. Or alcohol taxes, tobacco taxes. I mean, if those went up a little bit.
So consumption taxes or sin taxes?
It's that same, well, it falls into the same thing. But I mean, things that you can live without, but that we choose to buy.
So how do you feel, Monica, about a tax on the number of miles you drive?
That I don't want.
That you don't want.
Especially since they're proposing in addition to a gas tax. They've been studying in Oregon. I believe it's 3 or 4 years now. They've had the meters on the cars, and they've taken volunteers to do it. But theirs was going to be set up instead of a gas tax. Of course, we're not going to do that in Maryland.
It would be.
But you're double taxing.
I mean, think about this. We live in Washington County. A lot of our residents do go into D.C. and travel that hour and a half along that corridor. And the gas prices are outrageous already. If you also would be taxed on the mileage that you spend every day, we couldn't feed ourselves anymore. So you would have to have the job that leads you down there, and you pay more taxes on. That's not a luxury tax. That's a necessity tax. And to tax us more on necessities that we need to have, you have to have a job to survive and pay for housing and food and all that stuff, then that's not a fair tax to do. But if we tax things that are choices that you could live without if you can't afford them, and it would also go across the board. So people that make little money, if they choose to buy alcohol and tobacco, they will be taxed a little higher. It's the same as somebody who is better off and chooses to make those same choices. So it would be fair for everybody.
So, in a nutshell, because one of the things I think I've heard here as a common theme is that we all think that a lot of this is economically based. If we can fix the jobs, if we can fix the businesses coming in, it'll help the situation. Yes or no? Are we better off a year from now financially in the state of Maryland than we are today, all else being equal? Are we better off?
Everything's staying the way it is.
Yeah,
no.
Assuming the economy continues to move forward a little bit.
Which is also in question.
Right.
So I'm going to go with no.
Okay. Monica?
I'd like to think positively.
You are the eternal optimist, aren't you? Okay.
We're going to be a little bit better off.
I'm not the eternal optimist. I don't think we're going to do better either. But that's all the time we have for that topic. Next up, we'll tackle topics ripped from the headlines in our new segment called We Report, You Decide. Stay with us.
When Scott was just a little kid, we knew something was a little different about him.
So what do you think, Scott?
Well, I was hoping for something with flames, a big block, and a high car.
So it really wasn't a surprise when he opened up a speed shop on Marshall Street in Hagerstown. You can find performance parts at every Megamart or .com, but when you buy from Scott, your satisfaction's guaranteed.
And our prices are still as low as my socks. We still have bras.
For your car, of course.
Scott's Speed Shop on Marshall Street in Hagerstown.
The University System of Maryland at Hagerstown provides a convenient and affordable opportunity for you to meet your goals.
I graduated from Hagerstown Community College. I went into the job force and I had 3 children, and I just decided I was ready to obtain my goal of becoming a teacher.
At USMH, you can choose from more than 20 programs of study to complete your bachelor's degree or earn a master's degree.
I feel like I'm finally where I'm supposed to be.
USMH, you're ready, we're here.
It's that time of year again at Hagerstown Honda. The 2014 models are on the way and the 2013s must go. It's your last opportunity to save big with 0% for up to 60 months on every new 2013 in stock. There's less than 300 models remaining and time is winding down. Looking for the lowest payment? Lease the award-winning all-new 2013 Honda Civic 4-door LX Automatic for only $219 per month with no money down. Or lease the award-winning all-new 2013 Honda Accord 4-door LX CVT for only $269 per month with no money down. It only happens once a year. The Honda Summer Clearance Event going on now from the dealer that's making it easy, Hagerstown Honda.
The Bottom Line Sales Event is back at Hamilton Nissan. It's our biggest sale of the year and your chance to save thousands. Get up to $5,000 off on Ultimas or drive for as low as $18,600. Or choose Rogue, up to $6,000 off or as low as $19,200. New Sentras for under $16,000. Over $7,000 off on the new Pathfinder. Frontier pickups starting at only $18,100. But hurry, the Bottom Line Sales Event is for a limited time at Hamilton Nissan, your dealership for life.
If you have the audacity to believe that the massive challenge of saving for college deserves more than meager attention from your financial advisor,
if you believe that whatever you're facing, you deserve FaceTime.
Join the nearly 7 million investors who think like you do. FaceTime and Think Time make a difference.
Join us.
At Edward Jones, it's how we make sense of investing.
These really are the best years of your life, so why not make the most of them at Homewood at Williamsport? Conveniently located near Washington and Baltimore, we have a rich tradition of helping retirees maintain an independent social lifestyle. Homewood offers attractive, spacious cottages without any maintenance hassle or headaches, plus a vibrant social community and access to the best amenities and medical care. Woodlands Apartments with up to more than 1,200 square feet of beautiful living space. Now's the best time to look into Homewood at Williamsport. Enjoy worry-free living today and tomorrow at Homewood at Williamsport.
Ripped from the headlines. This is the segment where we discuss local, state, and national topics that have made the headlines. First up, in a recent CNN interview, former Vice President Dick Cheney suggested that Barack Obama was the worst president in his lifetime. Jim, in your opinion, is he right?
In one word, yes. There's so much data here. I don't know where to start. Let's talk scandals. Let's talk incompetence. Let's talk the beer summit that he had just a month into office, where he disrespected the police officer.
Right.
I mean, you name it. There is just such a wealth of opportunity to talk about this. What blows my mind more than the fact that, in my mind, that this is a foregone conclusion, is the fact that there are still some percentage of the population who hold on to what the hope and change was supposed to be. Right now, I got to tell you, I agree. I'm hoping for a change. I'm sad that I have to wait to 2016 to get it.
Yeah, unfortunately, Mr. Cheney wasn't the only one that came to that conclusion for Mr. Obama. Or President Obama, I should say. There was a study done a couple of weeks ago where he was found to be, through a survey of the public, and I apologize, I don't remember who did the survey, where they said that he was the worst modern president that we've had. And second, right behind him, by a couple points, was George Bush, and behind him was Jimmy Carter. So it's, part of it is the current president's always the worst president. But unfortunately, I don't think he can hide behind that one.
Well, do you think maybe it's influenced by the fact that a lot of people didn't want to have a black president? And
no.
That's coloring that opinion a little bit?
No, I don't believe that.
At least for a lot of people. And the Republicans seem to be throwing roadblocks in his way every turn. That some of that is flavoring.
No, I think they've used that as you're not allowed to oppose him unless you're racist. But I don't think that's nearly the case that it's being blown up to be.
Yeah, I think that Congress is completely and totally dysfunctional, not just with regard to legislation that the president proposes. They can't even get their heads together around stuff that they want to do.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't think that has anything to do with it. Do I think there's a percentage of the population that hate Barack Obama because he's black? Absolutely. But you know what? There were 40-some odd million voters who voted him in, not once, but twice. So somebody supported him. I know there's claims of tampering with the voting. I don't think they tampered with it at that level.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah,
I
that'd be
just
hard to
wonder
pull off.
in those surveys, did they really ask everybody? I mean, those surveys, I never get asked.
Well,
I mean,
no, they
I
never
think-
ask everybody.
Yeah,
they
you know,
probably
what
asked like
percentage of that
2,000
public
people
did
or
they
something.
ask?
I have never
Did
seen.
they go across the board, Republican,
Yeah.
you know, evenly, the people that voted for him, or did they just maybe just ask the Republicans, and of course that would be the
I
result?
doubt they just asked the Republicans, but
I have
but I
never-
can't tell you the mechanics
I
of
would
it.
just like to know what the percentage, just out of curiosity, you know.
I have never seen anyone who did something that was clearly and obviously wrong, and when confronted about it, he was able to dodge it until the next crisis came along, or he just doubled down and somehow comes out, at least to some people, smelling like a rose.
And I think some of
just
those
don't
scandals
get
are
it.
created just to divert from a worse one.
Well, that's very possible
I mean,
too.
it sure seems that way.
There's a lot going on there, and I just, you know, I have great concerns for our nation in the next 2 years. I'm hopeful that you know, whether the Republicans take the Senate or not, I'm hopeful that they maintain at least one of the houses.
Yeah.
Because I think if we have a fully Democratic Congress and Senate, I think we're gonna.
I heard an interesting observation or opinion, I guess I should say, last night of someone that was, the question came up about impeachment, and their opinion was the Republicans obviously don't have the backbone for it, or because we don't even hear it out of them right now after all this, but that if it actually happens, it's going to be because he ticked off enough Democrats that they're going to make it happen.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't
I
see
think
it
that would
happening
be
either,
a
but-
really, really bad
Although, you know,
move.
until this immigration, the current immigration issue, I probably would have agreed with you on that. I think there may be some question now.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that would be a bad move. I don't think that would be a winner for anyone. I think the Bill Clinton deal was a bad move, and I thought it was a bad move then, and frankly, I still do. You know, I'm not sure. I don't believe. Let me back up. I think this guy believes what he is doing is right. I think all
I
evidence
agree with
to the
that too.
contrary.
I don't think he's inept. I think he's doing exactly what he set out to do.
Yeah, I think all evidence points that it's not right, but I still think that his heart is in the right place at some level. I don't agree with it, and I think the evidence points out that he was wrong on many issues. But again, that's my opinion. So.
Well, go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/the Flipside TV and add your opinion to this topic on our page. We'll report the best entries in next week's show. Now let's turn to city news. The City Council appears to be moving towards rejecting a proposal that would allow binding arbitration to settle city union wage disputes. Chuck, is that a good idea?
No. In my opinion, you can look at a lot of major cities around the country and see the position they're in, and that's because they use binding arbitration, and now they can't pay pensions, they can't pay salaries, they can't pay anything. We have major cities who are filing for bankruptcy because of it.
No, wait a minute. Now, are you saying that binding arbitration is, because I think the
not the
article
question,
points out that the city is moving away from supporting binding arbitration.
Okay.
So is their decision to move away from it correct or incorrect?
The move away from it is correct.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's what I thought you were saying.
Yeah.
And I would agree with that. Again, I think one of the council members suggested that really is essentially delegating their responsibility to do those type of activities. And I believe that to be true. I think it is their job. They understand the city finances, or at least we hope they do.
Right.
And I think it's their job. I had a boss one time that a lot of the managers, a lot of my peer managers in this particular organization were into this, let's get a consultant in. And he said, you know, we can consult away our entire job, and if we do, why do we need you here?
Exactly.
So I think you need to do what you're hired to do, in my opinion.
Plus, if you live within the city, like, you know, the people that are in charge in our city, they know what's going on, and that would be the same thing as in a corporation. If you bring in an outsider in, sometimes it's a good idea, in some situations, it's a good idea to bring another view in, just to kind of, maybe have that step back kind of, but
Yeah.
not when it comes to wages. I
But
think
there's
we
a
know our
difference-
budget and we should.
Yeah.
It's a difference between getting advice from somebody and saying, this is what you're going to do.
Mediation versus arbitration,
Exactly.
in my opinion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I mean, you can look all around the country, and if somebody else comes in who doesn't maybe have the, even if they have the same numbers in front of them, they may not have the same interpretation of those numbers. And unfortunately, interpretation of numbers is way too prevalent. When, you know, and you can even look at, go outside city governments, go outside municipalities, and look at companies. You know, look at the situation with a lot of the auto companies, with the pensions that they have to pay, and they can't afford the pensions. They've somehow given those back to us.
Well, and the arbitration, the reality is the arbitration could go either way. You could have someone, whether they report it or not, they could be heavily on the side of the union or heavily on the side of the city. And at some point, there's a potential for somebody not to have a fair deal.
Right.
And I just don't get that.
Plus, if you bring an outside person in, they don't have the connection to the city, so maybe there are some things that are emotionally a little stronger that need to be dealt with, you know, on that level, whereas an outsider wouldn't have that connection and would maybe just look at the numbers, and it would be a very cold decision.
You know, if you are a married person and you're having issues in your marriage, sometimes those issues rise to the point where you need to seek marriage counseling, and I'm glad people do that. But I liken this whole arbitration thing to that type of situation. When you go, it's about understanding both sides and getting a better understanding and having that third party. Whereas with this, I think it's about going to that marriage counselor and saying, the marriage counselor saying, you will do this and you will do that. I don't think that can ever work.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Not in this case, at least. So, well, don't forget to go to our Facebook page now at facebook.com/The Flipside TV and add your opinion to this topic on our page. We'll report the best entries in the next week's show. Up next, the People's Choice topic for this week, focusing on immigration. Stay tuned.
The University System of Maryland at Hagerstown provides a convenient and affordable opportunity for you to meet your goals.
I graduated from Hagerstown Community College. I went into the job force and I had 3 children, and I just decided I was ready to obtain my goal of becoming a teacher.
At USMH, you can choose from more than 20 programs of study to complete your bachelor's degree or earn a master's degree.
I feel like I'm finally where I'm supposed to be.
USMH, you're ready, we're here.
Hi, I'm Mr. CopyQuick. Most people know CopyQuick as the place to go for fast copies. As Mr. CopyQuick, I still do copies fast, but I do a lot more. I do beautiful digital color printing. I also do graphics design. Wow, I was created by my own staff, and I'm so easy to find. I'm located at 710 Oak Hill Avenue, Hagerstown. There's plenty of store-side parking, or you can visit me at copyquick.com. If you want to see how really good I am, give me a try. I'm Mr. CopyQuick.
Barbers Carson Jewelers has been your community jeweler for over 110 years. We have the region's largest selection of diamonds, designer jewelry, including bridal, gold, and silver fashion jewelry, and fine Swiss timepieces. We strive to combine quality, expert personal attention, and affordable financing to create an exceptional shopping experience aimed at exceeding your expectations. At Carson's Jewelers, there's something for everyone that will bring a smile to that someone special in your life.
For over 20 years, Antietam Cable Television Productions has been bringing you local programming. From coverage of the Alsatian Mummers Parade and high school sports to unique local programming like our Ghosts and Legends shows and the Civil War in Washington County. Now you can own them on DVD. Just visit AntietamCable.com and click the DVD store button at the top of the page. You'll find all your favorite local programming from Antietam Cable. And right now, for a limited time, get 25% off plus free shipping on everything in the store. Antietam Cable Productions, bringing quality local programming to your home.
Businesses depend on technology, and smart businesses are migrating to cloud computing to increase performance and functionality and to eliminate costly in-house servers. With 15 years of experience, over 100 employees, and over 1 million users converted, Planet Technologies has cloud computing solutions for large business, small business, and your business. Reach for the cloud with Planet Technologies.
Thanks to Harry D. for this week's People's Choice topic. Harry writes, I'm very concerned that we will be on the list to receive some of these illegal immigrant children that have been flooding our southern borders. We have a history of importing needy people from other communities, and I'm afraid that we will be next. Monica, some say Washington County does attract a disproportionate percentage of the in-need population. Do you think we'll have buses filled with illegals showing up at our town?
Well, let's hope it's not going to be big buses full if we get a few.
Couple van loads would be okay? Couple van loads?
You know, I mean, I'm sure they're going to be spreading them out across the United States. And if what you said that you had heard is true, that there is a sign in New York City saying that you should go to Washington County, particularly Hagerstown, if you need help, then I guess they're going to send us some. You know, but where we will put them, that will be another question.
Well, my problem that I have with it is the distribution of resources. Sure, it's nice to spread all these people out over the entire country, so maybe it's not too big a burden on any individual. But what about where we have to now hire, in every place we send them, we have to hire interpreters for the schools. Where every place we send them, we have to have interpreters for the power company, for the city council, for all their forms now have to be done in 2, 3, 5 languages. I mean, all of that's money that we really shouldn't need to spend if we send them all in one area, or send them to an area that already supports whatever they need.
English. We could teach them English before we send them across the country. There's
well,
an idea.
yeah, but they're bringing them across and sending them out, so there's not really time to teach them English. But we have plenty of people that already speak what they speak.
How about we send them back?
Well, that's a better option.
I mean, seriously.
No,
and by the way,
like that idea.
By the way, the rumor is they are coming to Maryland. And the rumor is that the first county that will be graced by their presence will be Carroll County, Maryland.
That's a little too close to home, isn't it?
Is Washington County next?
We're not that far.
But we're just a couple of hop, skip, and a jumps across the mountain.
And why are we taking them? I mean, obviously they're not the destitute people they say they are.
Do we have a choice?
Because we could say no.
Okay. All right.
I mean, they're not. It's. I looked the other day that somebody saw a post, probably on Facebook, because that's where I get all my information. No, I don't really.
Because that's important
data. It's a 1,300-mile trip from Central America across Mexico into the U.S. We're talking about kids that are showing up here that have no parents, that have had no help getting here, as we're told. How did they make that trek, not dehydrate, not starve, not get lost? Somebody's bringing them here.
Absolutely.
So they can't be the poor that we're being told that they are. Somebody had to pay for that.
Well, what bothers me about that is those that never make it. Because what percentage of those children that are given to these
and we don't know that,
just never make it, or are sold into slavery, or any other number, and that just breaks my heart thinking about that. And as a parent, I can't imagine entrusting my kid to anyone. I mean, maybe a Boy Scout leader, or a Girl Scout leader, or a relative, but I can't process that.
See, and I think our problem here in the States is aside from the fact that the borders obviously aren't as secure as they're trying to make us believe, but we have bleeding hearts, and especially when it comes to children. So they have made this arduous trip, and now they're here, and we can't possibly turn them away, because we would look like the bad guys and not the people that are trying to watch out for their own economy. Because it's not like we wouldn't let them in if they took the regular legal way of immigrating. There is a legal way of immigrating that you could follow. So if you really want your children to be here, maybe do that as a whole family. Apply for immigration.
And because we can't break the family up, the family comes next.
Yeah, I mean,
if we can't break the family up, why don't we send the kids back to the family?
Yeah, there we go.
And then, last week there was a story I read about a couple of these children that were with relatives in the U.S. that they'd already sent home with them, and then they went out to check up on the kids, and whatever address they'd get them, there was no relatives and there were no kids there.
Right.
So how do we know who they're actually with? We're not checking anything.
Well, it's absolute chaos. But let me just say, from an entrepreneurial perspective, in chaos there is opportunity. For example, if we want to pick up and move to Orange County, California, we can take these illegal immigrant children in, and we will be paid $6,500 per month.
For one child.
For one child.
For each child.
For each child, potentially. I don't know how that works, but $6,500, that's not a bad living.
No, and if you get, a handful of them, then, you can pay your mortgage and the groceries.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Orange County is high cost of living. I wonder how much they would pay if they did that here. And
Which goes back to my original point. If you're going to spread them out, why spread them in the most, high,
why the highest
if they're coming to Maryland, they're going to end up in PG and Montgomery counties? Why send them to the most high resource cost places in the country? Which brings up the point, I heard on the radio on the way here that in Texas, the Obama administration has approved a $50 million purchase for a nonprofit group down there to buy this resort. It has 600 rooms. They have indoor and outdoor pool. They have weight rooms. They have Wi-Fi. They have in-room TV. They have, it's a luxury resort. And they're buying that to put kids in. And then they're going to not only buy it to put kids in, they're going to pay their, pay to run the maintenance of the
So whatever
resort.
happened, couldn't we send, if you're going to send them somewhere to take care of them, so send them to orphanages or, they came from obviously bad living. Why do they need to go and land in the golden pot of opportunity?
Of the 1%.
Of the 1%. Why not have them live a little bit more of a normal existence if we're going to bring them in here at all?
Well, I think
instead of turning them away.
Personally, I think there's another aspect of this that we need to look at, and that is the fact, and I'm stating this as fact, and I'll tell you why in just a minute, that all of this is a figment of all of our imaginations. Because Harry Reid stated this week in no uncertain terms that our borders are secure. So there are no babies, no children coming in unaccompanied into the United States.
And Harry would mislead us.
Right, and personally, when I heard about this, I immediately, because it was evening, I immediately walked outside and looked for a bright star to appear in the north, because the last time this happened, there were 3 wise men and stars and that type of thing. I didn't see one, but
well, I think in the House and Senate we might have 3 wise men too.
Maybe not.
Well, not more than 3.
But the other issue and the local impact. Yes, there is a local impact, and if these children keep coming across, they're going to have to put them somewhere. And again, I understand that Maryland is on the list. I understand Carroll County is the first point. Eventually, you would think it would have to get to us. Eventually, you would think that. But here's my bigger concern, and going back to the last segment about why Barack Obama is potentially the worst president in my view. The idea that has been floated about putting the increased border agents, sending the National Guard to the border, and turning them around before they ever come into the country. You got to think that news is going to travel equally fast back to these people, and these parents who are making these stupid moves of sending these children unattended with these mules are going to stop.
And I read a story last night, as a matter of fact. It was from, I believe, a New York Times reporter. I'm not 100% sure of that. But he said when he went and did his story, most of the border agents are 40 miles off the border. There are only a few of them in the heaviest parts of the of the border where they're actually at the border. So it would seem, at least, that where the cameras are, we're putting people there, and where they're not, we're kind of pulling them away, so everybody else knows where to cross.
It seems odd because they seem to let them in for a little while, because we were down in Tucson a few months ago and went to Tombstone. So there was actually border patrols. We were close enough to the border. I guess they had border patrol, but it still seemed a little far into the states for me to have border patrol.
Well, they're in there changing diapers.
Well,
and by the way,
as soon as we cross, the vast majority are 14 and older. But
oh, okay. Well, okay. And by the way, I was told by one of our producers that it's coyotes, not mules. So I stand corrected on the terminology relative to.
Well, coyote's more of a predator kind of thing.
There you go. There you go. So.
All right. Well, it looks like we're not going to decide their fate today, but Coming up, should our normal operating procedure be to pay more for services than they may need to? Next up, we look at how Maryland is upping the cost of the services it buys. Stay tuned for that report.
Hi, I'm Mr. CopyQuick. Most people know CopyQuick as the place to go for fast copies. As Mr. CopyQuick, I still do copies fast, but I do a lot more. I do beautiful digital color printing. I also do graphics design. Wow, I was created by my own staff, and I'm so easy to find. I'm located at 710 Oak Hill Avenue, Hagerstown. There's plenty of store-side parking, or you can visit me at copyquick.com. If you want to see how really good I am, give me a try. I'm Mr. CopyQuick.
Woodlands Apartments, with up to more than 1,200 square feet of beautiful living space. Now's the best time to look into Homewood at Williamsport. Conveniently located close to Washington and Baltimore, we have a rich tradition of helping retirees maintain an independent social lifestyle. Homewood offers attractive, spacious cottages without any maintenance hassle or headaches, plus a vibrant social community and access to the best amenities and medical care. These really are the best years of your life, so why not make the most of them? Enjoy worry-free living today and tomorrow at Homewood at Williamsport.
Businesses depend on technology, and smart businesses are migrating to cloud computing to increase performance and functionality and to eliminate costly in-house servers. With 15 years of experience, over 100 employees, and over 1 million users converted, Planet Technologies has cloud computing solutions for large business, small business, and your business. Reach for the cloud with Planet Technologies.
Here's what our customers are saying about Wolf Furniture's showroom.
The showroom is amazing.
They have a beautiful selection.
Wolf's showroom is awesome. Beautiful. The Wolf showroom is beautiful. Awesome.
Classy. Compared to others, very classy.
Very classy, very unique. And as Freddie said, the prices are very competitive.
Come in and see for yourself our wide selection of quality furniture at very competitive prices at Wolf Furniture.
Barbers Carson Jewelers has been your community jeweler for over 110 years. We have the region's largest selection of diamonds, designer jewelry, including bridal, gold, and silver fashion jewelry, and fine Swiss timepieces. We strive to combine quality, expert personal attention, and affordable financing to create an exceptional shopping experience aimed at exceeding your expectations. At Carson's Jewelers, there's something for everyone that will bring a smile to that someone special in your life.
The University System of Maryland at Hagerstown provides a convenient and affordable opportunity for you to meet your goals.
I graduated from Hagerstown Community College. I went into the job force and I had 3 children, and I just decided I was ready to obtain my goal of becoming a teacher.
At USMH, you can choose from more than 20 programs of study to complete your bachelor's degree or earn a master's degree.
I feel like I'm finally where I'm supposed to be.
USMH, you're ready, we're here.
Why pay $20 for a haircut when you can pay $50? Some argue the prevailing wage laws in Maryland operate on that very principle, and as a result drive up the cost of services purchased by the state. Jim, what are prevailing wages and how do they impact the state budget?
Well, prevailing wage, as I understand it, is a method by which there's a survey taken, and these prevailing wages are established. And on projects in the state of Maryland that are over $500,000, I believe, or if they're funded partially locally and partially by the state, there has to be a percentage of it. I think it's 30% that is funded by the state. That you have to pay this prevailing wage. So you have to pay a wage rate that may be higher, it may be lower in some cases than what you already pay. If you're paying higher, then you're fine. If you're paying lower, then you have to bring your employees up from where they are to this prevailing wage. So hence the analogy, why pay $20 for a haircut when you can pay $50? So it's an interesting concept, and again, in my mind, it just drives up the cost. And you know, we talked about the budget earlier. How much money are we spending every year, and what does this do to competition?
I think it takes the competition away. You know, if everybody has to bid at that prevailing wage for a big job like that, then
Well, you're free to bid above the prevailing wage. I don't think
You're
there's
not
any
going to get the
restriction on
contract,
that.
right? They're going to go with the lowest cost, no matter what.
The contractor is. The state's not necessarily going to go with the lowest cost because they want you to use the prevailing wage. Again, it's just another cost control from government, and they don't work. I mean, you can look at cost controls, you can look at wage controls. Whenever the government gets involved in something like that, it never really turns out to be a good thing. It's like we're now raising the minimum wage as of, what, January 1st, I guess. You know, that's not a favorable pressure on the economy.
You don't think that the state is not going to go for the lowest cost?
No. Not if they're having you use a prevailing wage, then they're not going with the lowest cost.
Well, they never get the lowest cost because everybody bids at the prevailing wage.
Yeah.
Right.
So what are these prevailing wages? Let's take a little look here. I have a list which was published. So if you are a boiler maker, the hourly rate that you must be paid is $32.06. Plus, your employer must prove that your fringe benefits amount to at least $18.91. So round that up, $19. So essentially $50 an hour is what you're looking at. On some of the
which full time is $100,000 a year. It is.
Okay, something like that. Okay. So on some of these, not only do they dictate the wage and hourly rate plus the fringe benefits, but let's take the communication installer technician. That's the people that install the wires in the walls that help your computers connect to each other, and the telephone systems and that type of thing. In this particular case, and in others, not only are they subject to the prevailing wage, and again, the prevailing wage is different for each job category, but they are also subject to defined paid holidays. So if you are a communication installer technician, you must get as a paid holiday New Year's, Memorial Day, July 4th, Labor Day, Martin Luther King Day, President's Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day. So you must get 9 holidays. You are also subject to a minimum vacation. Employees with 1 year service must get at least 1 week paid vacation, 2 years at least 2 weeks, and 10 years at least 3 weeks. So virtually every negotiating point that an employer has with an employee is covered and redefined by mandated by this law. And again, bottom line, it costs the state more.
If you're a brand new employee, it's your first day on the job. You're an apprentice as far as the company is concerned. If you don't have that employee certified with the state as an apprentice,
right,
they have to be paid the prevailing rate.
Yes, they do.
With 0 experience, that first day on the job.
Right. And by the way, if you are a corporate officer or owner, that maybe it's kind of a startup business and you don't take much of a salary for yourself initially, you have to pay yourself that. If you have a non-union supervisor that does any of the work, they must be paid that for the period of time that they are performing the tasks that are covered by the prevailing wage. It is just another example of a mess, in my opinion.
Something that should go away.
In my opinion.
No wonder.
And
I mean, with you saying
should be dictated by the private sector.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, no wonder we can't get any telephone service or things like that restored if they go down on the holidays, because nobody's working. And that is in those jobs, you know? They got a pretty sweet deal going on there. But,
well,
so.
Again, I just, this is to me an example of just another law that has just gone crazy.
Well, and part of this, I think, is you bring, I mean, Maryland's been around for how long? 270 years or 280 years or something like that. You know, why do we still need as many new laws every year as we write? I mean, I mean, it's there to, in my opinion, you know, justify their existence.
Absolutely.
But because the reality of it is, they could be there a week, a year, and get done what needs to be done.
And we could just live with the laws as long as there's nothing that impedes any actions or whatever. We could live with.
And by the way, in addition to the additional cost to the business of paying the wage scale wages, there is also a huge issue with the record keeping that you have to do, because you have to submit certified payrolls. There are all of these extra record keeping tasks above and beyond. Your employees have to be willing to, and you have to be willing for your employees to submit to interviews, to authorized officials from the state, I guess, Department of Licensing and Labor. It's crazy. It's just crazy.
It makes you wonder if it's worth it getting a state job then. You know, is the payout worth the trouble that you have to go through? But, next up, Chuck Spitzer talks about Obamacare subsidies. Could this latest court case bring the Affordable Care Act to its knees? Stay tuned.
If you have the audacity to believe that the massive challenge of saving for college deserves more than meager attention from your financial advisor,
if you believe that whatever you're facing, you deserve face time.
Join the nearly 7 million investors who think like you do. Face time and think time make a difference.
Join us.
At Edward Jones, it's how we make sense of investing.
These really are the best years of your life, so why not make the most of them at Homewood at Williamsport, conveniently located near Washington and Baltimore. We have a rich tradition of helping retirees maintain an independent social lifestyle. Homewood offers attractive, spacious cottages without any maintenance hassle or headaches, plus a vibrant social community and access to the best amenities and medical care. Woodlands Apartments with up to more than 1,200 square feet of beautiful living space. Now's the best time to look into Homewood at Williamsport. Enjoy worry-free living today and tomorrow at Homewood at Williamsport.
Businesses depend on technology, and smart businesses are migrating to cloud computing to increase performance and functionality and to eliminate costly in-house servers. With 15 years of experience, over 100 employees, and over 1 million users converted, Planet Technologies has cloud computing solutions for large business, small business, and your business. Reach for the cloud with Planet Technologies.
The University System of Maryland at Hagerstown provides a convenient and affordable opportunity for you to meet your goals.
I graduated from Hagerstown Community College. I went into the job force and I had 3 children, and I just decided I was ready to obtain my goal of becoming a teacher.
At USMH, you can choose from more than 20 programs of study to complete your bachelor's degree or earn a master's degree.
I feel like I'm finally where I'm supposed to be.
USMH, you're ready, we're here.
Hi, I'm Mr. CopyQuick. Most people know CopyQuick as the place to go for fast copies. As Mr. CopyQuick, I still do copies fast, but I do a lot more. I do beautiful digital color printing. I also do graphics design. Wow, I was created by my own staff, and I'm so easy to find. I'm located at 710 Oak Hill Avenue, Hagerstown. There's plenty of store-side parking, or you can visit me at copyquick.com. If you want to see how really good I am, give me a try. I'm Mr. CopyQuick.
The court case of Halbig versus Sebelius may represent the next major legal challenge for the already problematic Affordable Care Act. The case suggests that the IRS is breaking the law with tax subsidies in all 50 states that offset the cost of health insurance. Monica, could these 3 justices end up being the death panel for Obamacare?
Well, they certainly could if they voted it, voted that this was, if they rule in favor of this case, so that it is illegal, it certainly could bring it to its knees, or at least send it up the chain and then, have further ruling done, which could be stalled for a while, but it would certainly give an already problematic system a few more roadblocks.
Yeah, but the reality is it's probably going to, no matter what happens, it's going to go all the way to Supreme Court.
It is going to go to the Supreme Court, regardless of this decision. Well, this is a district court. It just happens to be two blocks away from the Supreme Court. They just made a landmark ruling, so they might as well get their pens ready for this one.
That's
because
right.
It's gonna come.
The case, by the way, is stating that it's illegal for the IRS to pay subsidies outside state exchanges. Is that correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And the reality is, the problematic piece of it is, Obamacare, by most counts, cannot survive without those subsidies, because otherwise it kind of collapses under its own weight. So that's the big problem. If they strike this down and those subsidies can't can't continue, then there's no way to pay for it.
And there's only 13 states that have exchanges, correct?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I saw
14?
something like
14?
13
Yeah,
or
maybe
14?
14.
14. So 36 states, technically, the way the law is written right now, cannot receive subsidies because they're not going through a state exchange. So it's, and the subsidies extend pretty high. For a family of 4, your income can be up to $95,000. So it's a pretty, I mean, it affects a substantial number of people.
Well, and I mean, considering how high the cost of these plans are and how high the deductible is, I mean, we recently went on it, and without the subsidy, we would have a $4,000, I think for medical expenses, it was $4,000 that we would have to come out of pocket before, you know, anything else would kick in, and $2,000 for medication a month.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
And a lot
that
of
was
them,
one of the better plans.
a lot of employers are
Very
paying
high.
part of it now, but when they go onto the Obamacare plan, the employer's not paying part of it anymore. So their subsidies are looking to replace that part. And if 36 states now can't have subsidies, that really is going to impact substantially a lot of families.
Yeah, it will. You know, and with the high cost anyway.
Absolutely. The deductibles are huge.
Deductible
Absolutely
humongous.
huge on the
Yeah.
Obamacare plans.
Yeah. And the coverage is, I mean, the coverage is decent compared to what we've had in the past, but it takes forever to get on for one thing.
Well, I know
Then
for
when you're
mine,
on
it went up, the premium itself went up 38%, almost 40%. That was just the premium, not taking out of the fact that, you know, my employer is no longer paying any of it.
Yeah.
So it's huge, huge difference.
And when you're self-employed, it's still cheaper than COBRA, but you know, if you're in between, like if you're leaving one job and there was a time period you could go into
Right.
COBRA, which is incredibly expensive. So if you're switching into Obamacare like we did, and under self-employment, you have no help anyway. You know, it's very high.
It'll be interesting to see how this moves forward. You know, again, and this decision is expected, I think, any day. So maybe even this week. But in my mind, if this decision comes down in favor or against Obamacare and against the Affordable Care Act, and that on the heels of the Hobby Lobby decision, wow, that's a lot to dig out from.
The Hobby Lobby decision, by the way, when the Senate was going to vote to fix that, today voted, those choosing to fix the Hobby Lobby issue lost. So for now at least, the Senate's can't do anything about it.
Right. Well, and even if the Senate did do something about it, there would be no way that any fix would get through the Congress.
Well,
It just
my
wouldn't
opinion of
happen.
this, of what we're talking about, is how many times already to date has the executive branch unilaterally changed the American Affordable Care Act? Excuse me. You know, so even
he's got a pen and
he
he's
loses,
got a phone.
He's got a pen. He's got a phone. So even if he loses, it doesn't matter.
Now, he can't use
he's
that
still
to
going to
secure
do
the
what he
border,
wants to
but
do.
he can you know.
Baby steps, Jim. Baby steps.
Okay. No pun intended, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, he has unilaterally changed it. You know, and not only has he changed it, but agencies have changed it. Health and Human Services have changed it. This law has become, again, it's already starting to collapse.
Well, it
under
wasn't
its own
written
weight.
when it was voted on. So it was bad enough we had to pass it to see what was in it. What was in it wasn't, a lot of it is now being written by agencies anyway.
Right.
You know, they were given very broad directives, and now they're deciding how they're going to make those happen. And it's still, I'm failing to see the part where it's benefiting us.
Well, you know, remember though that there was a recent survey, and a large percentage of those who have insurance under the Affordable Care Act are pleased with what is being offered. Now, a similar large percentage said they don't know whether they can afford it long term.
Right.
But at least for the time being, they're in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
So we'll have insurance this year.
That's because there's subsidies this year.
Absolutely.
Well, and if the subsidies go away, a lot of young people might not. They might
Well,
think,
and
why
that's
do
the
I
key,
even need
right? And
insurance?
young
Because it's
people
the
are
law.
the key to this.
Yeah.
Without the young people, this doesn't work at all. You know, without the subsidies, it doesn't work for the individuals.
Yeah.
Without the young people, it doesn't work for the government.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see how this all flushes out.
Or maybe this time next week we'll be able to have a new segment on what the result of that court case was and where it's going to go from there.
Maybe so.
Which the next court it's going to, maybe. We want your feedback on all of our topics, so go to facebook.com, the Flipside TV, to let your voice be heard. Next up is Last Call, always entertaining and sometimes downright funny. We hope you'll stick around.
Businesses depend on technology, and smart businesses are migrating to cloud computing to increase performance and functionality and to eliminate costly in-house servers. With 15 years of experience, over 100 employees, and over 1 million users converted, Planet Technologies has cloud computing solutions for large business, small business, and your business. Reach for the cloud with Planet Technologies.
Hi, I'm Mr. CopyQuick. Most people know CopyQuick as the place to go for fast copies. As Mr. CopyQuick, I still do copies fast, but I do a lot more. I do beautiful digital color printing. I also do graphics design. Wow, I was created by my own staff, and I'm so easy to find. I'm located at 710 Oak Hill Avenue, Hagerstown. There's plenty of store-side parking, or you can visit me at copyquick.com. If you want to see how really good I am, give me a try. I'm Mr. CopyQuick.
These really are the best years of your life, so why not make the most of them at Homewood at Williamsport? Conveniently located near Washington and Baltimore, we have a rich tradition of helping retirees maintain an independent social lifestyle. Homewood offers attractive, spacious cottages without any maintenance hassle or headaches, plus a vibrant social community and access to the best amenities and medical care. Woodlands Apartments with up to more than 1,200 square feet of beautiful living space. Now's the best time to look into Homewood at Williamsport. Enjoy worry-free living today and tomorrow at Homewood at Williamsport.
If you have the audacity to believe that the massive challenge of saving for college deserves more than meager attention from your financial advisor,
if you believe that whatever you're facing, you deserve face time.
Join the nearly 7 million investors who think like you do. Face time and think time make a difference.
Join us.
At Edward Jones, it's how we make sense of investing.
So each week during this segment, we give each panel member a chance to say what's on their mind. Chuck, what is on your mind?
Well, I'm just thrilled to death because I saw that the mayor is going to have a conference, for lack of a better word, this week on the 10-year plan. And I just can't wait to see what's there. I'd love to see a plan actually followed through on. And it's going to be this week. It's at the library. And if you can't get there Thursday night for that, then check the paper and see what happened.
Excellent. Monica?
Well, I'm thinking about the ag fair because we have a little granddaughter that, might enjoy some of the critters that they have out there.
Absolutely.
So the ag fair show and fair is July 19th through the 26th. So bring out your family for a nominal fee and get in, do all the rides to see the animals, pet them,
buy
see
a cow.
Exhibitions, maybe buy a cow, do a tractor pull, all kinds of stuff.
You can.
Since I used to live in Texas, I refer to this as the Yankee version of a rodeo. So go out and enjoy it.
All right. Thank you, Monica. Well, as for me, I spent my early adulthood in a great job with, for the most part, extraordinary supervisors and an amazing staff. I learned a lot from the experiences. What I'd never bothered to contemplate, however, were the more subtle lessons, and one of those came to mind when I learned of a former coworker's retirement recently. My memories of my former colleague are filled with images of a woman who was dedicated, reliable, and hardworking. A woman who faced challenges both professionally and personally with perseverance and determination. Most importantly, a woman whose proverbial glass always seemed half full. The life lessons for me was that it doesn't cost any more to smile, and grit is one of the keys to success. So, Essie Mae Miller, no relation by the way, congratulations on an amazing career and best wishes in your next challenge. My hope for you is that, and by the way, here's the inside joke, every little thing in your retirement exceeds your expectations. Well, that's our show for tonight. We are out of time, but remember, check in with us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and email us with your comments or suggestions on issues or topics. Also, set your DVRs to record this program every week. For now, from our panel, producers, and staff, thank you for tuning in, and come back next week to get in on the flip side.